Hey everyone, Dan here. Welcome to Revealed in the Chair, where it's not just about hair, it's everything we talk about behind the chair. Today, we're opening up case file number 1, the dry hair case. And before we begin, I need to challenge something that almost everyone believes. Dry hair needs more moisture. Now, most people believe dry hair simply needs more moisture, more conditioner, more oils, more masks, more products. But what if the thing you're adding isn't the thing that you need? And what if your dry hair isn't actually dry? Now, to find out, we needed a model. Let me introduce it to Brenna Kay, our niece. Now, she came in saying something we hear all the time. My hair feels dry. My hair tangles. My hair feels rough. Now we have a complaint, but we don't have a verdict. We need evidence. And to help us with our investigation, I brought on one of the best investigators I know, my wife and business partner, Danielle.
Hey everyone.
You know, I have to say, Danielle, one thing I appreciate about you is your endless pursuit to understanding the why when it comes to hair, especially natural curl. You know, you're like the Sherlock Holmes for hairdos. You're like the ninja for ingredients. Tell us, what drives you?
Well, I began seeing a lot of curly hair clients come into my chair, and while they come in with the common problems, they're not always the same cause. And so it forced me to go down the path to figure out what was causing these issues and create solutions for them.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So we have our first case.
Yeah, our niece Brenna.
So what can you tell us about Brenna? What did she come in saying?
Well, let's watch the video. Just the number one. What would be?
Frizz. Like
Okay,
there's
frizz.
always like little pieces that frizz out.
Okay.
Did we assume that she needs more moisture in her hair?
No, there's more evidence we need to gather.
Oh.
And that's how we started with our identity discovery session worksheet. It's the worksheet that we fill out when we're going to ask more questions, and some of those questions really gave us some more clues. So the first section helped us to understand a little bit more about Brenna and what her concerns were and what she really wanted from her hair.
Because hair, dry hair can mean multiple things,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So,
And so the first question I asked her was, what bothers you most about your hair right now? And she said the frizz.
Mhm.
The second thing I asked her is, when do you feel best about your hair? And she said when it's wavy.
so she wants frizz-free waves.
Yes, and doesn't every curly girl want that? And what are you hoping for when we're done today? What was she hoping for today when we were done? What did she want her hair to feel like?
And what did she want her hair to feel like?
She wanted less frizz, and she wanted it to feel healthy.
That's a clue.
Those are clues. Those are good clues because we're getting to know her. What's important to her.
Because we need to know the person who's sitting in the chair, right?
Yeah, before we can come up with solutions. Yeah, so the second section we went through was the hair analysis, getting
Okay.
to know about her routines and things like that. So one of the first questions I asked her was, how often do you wash your hair? And she's doing it every 2 days.
Every 2 days?
Yep. And the second question that stuck out was, do you ever clarify your hair? Which we know is a big one, and it's something
Yep.
we recommend a lot in our salon. And she said sometimes, which means it's not consistent then.
So it's pretty safe to say that we have people clarify their hair, if it's fine, at least once a week?
Well, typically what I recommend for people, and it also depends on, because I'm doing a lot of curly hair, they're not washing every day typically, so about twice a month to be safe for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and I know you have a little bit different clientele, with a lot of fine-haired people.
So if I have a fine hair client, I have my clients clarify their hair once a week. And if they have natural curl, probably about once every 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and so the next question that stuck out was, do you blow dry or air dry your hair? Which is important to know, because we need to know if there's any mechanical damage or heat damage going on in the hair. And right now she's air drying it most of the time.
Well, good. Going back to the clarifying, if she's not clarifying her hair often, that could be product buildup.
It could be, yep.
So that's a clue.
Yep, that's a big thing. Yeah. So the next thing I asked about that was, do you use hot tools? And we know from the past, in years past, she was flat ironing her hair a lot. And so that was a concern. And she does sometimes still flat iron her hair. Well, then the next question I had for her was, are you using heat protectant when you're doing it?
And that's huge.
It is huge. And she just kind of smiled at me sheepishly. And she's like, well, when I can find the products.
Because if we look at her picture, it looks healthy on top, but down to the mid shaft or middle of the hair down to the ends doesn't look very healthy.
No.
And that could very well be mechanical damage.
It could be.
Because if she's not wearing heat protectant, she's damaging her hair.
Mhm.
Then another question is she doing it on slightly damp hair? Did she get her hair blow dried enough?
Right.
Because what that can do, that can cause internal damage to the internal structure of hair.
Yeah.
So you have a lot going on there.
You do have a lot going on, because then that led into the coloring services. We needed to know her history, which we know most of it because we typically do her hair. So there was highlights, which we knew because I had done them. We also did a raspberry chocolate not too long ago, which is darker, significantly darker than what she is now. And then she did DIY Manic Panic.
Oh boy.
In a vampire red. So.
Yeah. And you will see as we go through the color segment on Brenna what we had to deal with.
Yeah. And the last one that was significant was, do you use styling products, and if so, which ones? Which right now she's using a leave-in, and she's using a gel, and I asked her if it was a lightweight, medium, or a stronger hold gel, and it's a medium weight gel. So there again, there could be product buildup if she's not washing, more than, she's going every 2 days.
So the products themselves aren't bad.
No.
They're good things, because there's really good, high quality products out there.
Correct.
But if she's not clarifying her hair, that could be buildup.
Could be buildup.
That's like putting rain jacket over
suffocating hair.
You're suffocating the hair.
Yeah. Especially if with curly hair, you have a hard time retaining the hydration as it is, and now you're putting something over it, and you keep putting it over it, and you're never getting it completely off. Well, now you're just, contributing to that dry problem.
So there's a lot going on with Brenna's hair.
Going on with her hair.
From the surface, it doesn't look bad.
It didn't look too bad, no, from the surface.
But when you felt her hair, was there a difference when you felt it?
There was, and especially when you start to look and seeing that it's dull, and you're seeing the frizz present itself in certain areas, and then just that lifeless feeling she was experiencing. Those are all cluing us into, and then these really helped us to kind of narrow it down to what could be going on.
We definitely need questions, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you need more than just,
we don't want to assume
no.
We know what's going on in somebody's life behind a chair.
Well, and especially because while they may tell us what they're experiencing, if you don't dig further, you're not going to know why they're experiencing those things. And then you just fall back. Like typically what we hear is, well, you need more moisture, or here, try this hair mask, or try this oil. But we needed to dig deeper.
So looking at the surface of Brenna's hair, is it safe to say that by looking at her, that's a lack of moisture? I mean, is that our theory, that it was just a lack of moisture? Before the questions.
Before the questions, you might have thought that, until you started digging in and really knowing all of the history of her hair and what was going on and what she does with it and what she's using and those types of things. So the questions are very important.
So there's a lot more going on. All right, so we have suspects.
We did come to some suspects, yep.
What do we see? I see that you have a suspect. They're hidden under there. What do we have underneath there? So we have buildup, and then we have chemical damage. You had talked about her hair color. What'd you come across on that?
Well, we know that she's had highlights in the past because we've done them, and we know they're probably still on the ends. And now coupled with, okay, you're flat ironing it sometimes, and if you're not using heat protectant, well, now you're continuing to compromise that area where the lightener has been. So there could be a combination of those two.
So we could have an internal porosity issue.
Correct.
And does porosity matter when it comes to hair?
It matters greatly.
So we also have, we said mechanical damage, because that could cause a lot of issues. Yep. And then the lack of moisture. So those are our suspects. All right. So what do you think our verdict is then?
I think it's a combination of all of them.
Okay. So buildup?
Yep. And the buildup is suffocating the hair. And so if there's buildup in that internal part, which you talked about in a previous video, that hydration's not evenly in that hair strand. We've got product sitting on top now that's just kind of suffocating the hair. And so with that hair wanting to evaporate that hydration so quickly all the time because it is wavy, now you're just exacerbating that problem with the lack of moisture. On those ends where you saw that brush stop, we know that there's a textural change there, and that's where the old highlights were that were continuing to be damaged because of the flat iron with no heat protectant.
All right, so those are our suspects, and I believe that is our verdict.
All right, Dan, well, let's talk about the solutions.
Well, looking at up everything that we have up on there, we have buildup, we have chemical damage, we have mechanical damage, and a lack of moisture. Because of the buildup, that's a big concern because, like it says, we can't get proper hydration with the buildup.
Correct.
You know, and I think a lot of times that we end up putting products in our hair thinking that we're doing it good. You know, it's like putting lotion on a skin. You know, if the interior is dehydrated and we put lotion on the skin, that's really not taking care of the problem. So what we had to do is we had to do a demineralizing treatment.
Yeah.
The demineralizing treatment is going to remove any buildup on the surface, but it's also going to remove any of the buildup that's on the interior of hair.
Correct.
And if you have not got a demineralizing treatment in your hair before, it will reset your hair and your hair will be totally different after you get it done.
Yeah.
This episode, we covered 3 layers of the inside out hair method.
And next episode, you're going to see us cover layers 4 and part of layer 5.
Which is rebalance and also color.
Color.
We're going to talk about the color we did on Brenna.
And dealing with that manic panic.
Stay tuned.